assets and control over assets is going to be a critical part of strategy.
So, Sajjan, he spoke about the percentage of GDP that goes into R&D is also very, very high. Is that an area, I mean, we know it's an area India is lacking in. What needs to change to improve the situation?
So I think, China, if we talk particularly about China, because China is the new country which is giving a real fight to the US. China's fight is not with India. They are fighting with United States. And they've made a very clear policy that we have to beat United States in whatever way they are doing. So the only way you can beat United States, any country can do well, is to have a massive spend on R&D. And issue is that in R&D, you never know whether you win or you lose, because till the end, you don't know. So China took this very conscious decision that we are going to spend billions and trillions of dollars in R&D. And every province, every state in our language, every state of theirs, they spend huge amount of money on R&D. They identify the industries, the entrepreneurs, and they call them, they talk to them that what do you need? For example, BYD, when way back in 2015,
BYD was called by the Shenzhen province chief that we want to beat Tesla. Okay, we need to create something which is ahead of Tesla. So what do you want? What do you need? Tesla has spent $5 billion in R&D. What do you need? So he asked for $15 billion. And he said, I will make Tesla look like crap. And they got $15 billion to spend by the state. They spent the money, they got equity stake, the state got equity, and then BYD, when BYD got listed, they sold out their stake and they made much more money to support many more industries. So state in China plays a very important role. State as a federal, state as a provincial. So this is what we need to do in India. We need to, because industry per se will do R&D only to the extent short term. But to look at 10, 15, 20 years ahead, industry will find it very tough to invest that money. So we need to have R&D. We have created Anusandhan, in Government of India last budget, they gave a 1 lakh crore budget for Anusandhan. But I went into details that how do I get money from Anusandhan for the R&D? Because I want to make these cells, which goes into making batteries for electric vehicles, electric trucks. But there is so much procedure, so much of issues that there is no way one can get those Anusandhan or the funding for that project. So this is what is really needed.
So much more to talk about, but unfortunately we are out of time. So much more programming coming up this evening. Honorable Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh, Mr. Chandrababu Naidu is here, the winner this evening of the Reformer of the Year Award. Our esteemed panelist, Sajjan Jindal, is also a big winner this evening of Business Leader of the Year. We'll get into the ceremony shortly, and prior to that, we'll have a conversation with Honorable Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman, who should also be here with us shortly. So lots of exciting program ahead. Much as I would have loved to talk more and picked your brains more, we'll close now. Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause to our panelists, please. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause once again for our wonderful panelists. Thank you so much for a chat that was candid, sharp, and deeply insightful. In business, these are usually the conversations people later say, I wish I'd been in that room. Well, tonight, thankfully, we all are here for it. And I think it's fair to say that the evening could not have asked for a more thoughtful way to begin. Our sincere thanks to our wonderful panelists for setting the tone of the evening brilliantly, and to Shrutijit for guiding that conversation perfectly. Thank you once again. And now we turn to our next special segment. A conversation with a leader whose role in shaping growth, reform, and investment has had a lasting impact on public life and economic development. Over several decades, he has built a reputation for pairing political longevity with a sharp focus on execution. he has consistently returned to one of the big ideas. Of Andhra Pradesh, he has long placed infrastructure, technology, investment, and execution at the center of public policy with a style of leadership that business has watched closely for years. It is our pleasure to invite none other than Shri N. Chandrababu Naidu to this stage. Thank you so much for being here, sir. Honor and a pleasure having you here. Thank you, sir. And he will be in conversation with Executive Editor of ET Politics, Pranab Dhal Samanta. Over to you, Pranab.
Good evening, sir, and welcome to the Economic Times Awards, and also congratulations in advance on your award. Very few would remember, and I don't know if Sir himself would, but when you came into politics, he brought something new. He brought a trend, which is, I will win elections on performance. No old equations here and there, but plain performance-based delivery, and that will win me elections. I think a lot of people have followed your model after that. And today, when we look at investments coming to Andhra Pradesh, one must say you've caused tremors, if not earthquakes, in other states. As you've pulled in Google, you've pulled in green steel into Andhra. So my question is, what makes Chandrababu Naidu tick for Andhra Pradesh, and what are you doing in terms of a vision so that these people are attracted to Andhra so soon, so fast?
Thank you for your kind words. You are aware always, I want to do something bigger thing. I am fortunate I became CM after economic reforms. I was in politics for the last 4.5 decades. I have seen India pre-economic reforms and post-economic reforms. First time, 1995, I became Chief Minister. I prepared Vision 2020 for Andhra Pradesh. That is the achievement of Hyderabad today. That is the outcome. Now our Honorable Prime Minister is preparing Vikasit Bharat 2047. We are preparing now Vision 2047, that is Swarna Andhra Pradesh. I am very confident Andhra will be, today we are having so many problems, Andhra will be #1 state in the country. India will be #1. I am confident #1. We have to make it. That is possible only through Narendra Modi ji. This is going to happen. That is the aspiration I am working. When I started, all of you are aware here, mid-90s, IT revolution, internet innovation. Today, we are in an inspiring time. Data center, artificial intelligence, quantum. We are all talking about Silicon Valley, that is in America. Now, future is, we are going to talk about Quantum Valley, that is in India, that is Amaravati. That is going to happen in the near future.
Sir, we all are now consumed by the conflict in West Asia and the impact it is happening on the world economy, also on India in a big way. I'm sure Andhra Pradesh also must be feeling the heat. But people say that Chandrababu Naidu has the answer for India's future energy solutions. You have some big plans from nuclear, solar, wind. And I'm wondering how the costing of it is working out. Could you share with us some thoughts?
No, majority are here. They are already in a hydrogen and also green ammonia, various kinds of energy.
So, but will this mean more technology collaboration with China because there is the other problem there?
Earlier, yes, even to have a panel, we had to depend on them. Today, we are also moving in that direction. End-to-end solutions, we are able to achieve it. And in Andhra Pradesh, all equipment, even solar panels, everything our people are manufacturing. And also next step, we are going green ammonia. That is also coming in the near future. I am assuring you, Andhra Pradesh will be because of this, I am fortunate. We are very strong in green energy. Google has come after economic reforms, highest FDI, 15 billion US dollars they are investing in Visakhapatnam. Day after tomorrow, I am laying the foundation, data center and also AI. So after this, today SIPC we cleared Reliance 1 gigawatt. So many people are coming now. Now I am restricting up to 5 gigawatts. Otherwise, beyond that, I cannot supply power.
You know, back in the days when Andhra was united, we used to travel through Hyderabad, people used to say, the Nizam built Hyderabad, the Britishers built the second city, Sikandrabad, and then Chandrababu Naidu built Cyberabad. Today you are on to another project to build another city, Amravati. Where do you see yourself? You know, I see a lot of work coming, a lot of support also from the central government. What's the road ahead?
No, I am very happy. Most of you have visited Hyderabad. We had two cities, twin cities, Hyderabad, Sikandrabad. Then I added one more city, that is Cyberabad. Today, after that, outer ring road, 165 kilometers, and best airport, and also we laid strong foundation for knowledge economy. Today I am proud to say, Hyderabad is the best livable city. And Telangana is having highest per capita income. That is how we build that city. God has given me one more opportunity to build another city, that is Amravati. You are all aware, in our mythology, God's capital is Amravati. This is people's capital, Amravati. I am assuring you, anybody wanted to live more lifespan, come and settle in Amravati. That is the future city, green and also blue and also total green energy and also net zero concept. That is how we are building. Hyderabad plus is Amravati. Center is also cooperating. We are going to build one of the best futuristic city, that is Amravati.
So while you talk about the performance and the way your delivery has actually resulted in votes, but you've also lost elections in the process, when you look at the freebies culture and what it has done to Andhra Pradesh economy, and you are now trying to fix it, do you still believe that somewhere, just along with performance, these freebies have become a necessary part of your fiscal condition?
Always I am saying only one thing. One has to create wealth through reform. Then only we can give welfare. Without creating wealth, you cannot generate revenue, you cannot sustain the overall economy. This is where I am arguing. As you rightly mentioned, elections we are winning, but if you do properly, if you lose one election, again you will win subsequent election because of our credibility. Exactly, Andhra Pradesh, all of are here. Now, what type of society we wanted to see in future? Only billionaires, millionaires, or better living standards for everybody? That is where I am working now. P4, P3 is public-private partnership. I am adding one more P, public-private people's partnership. There is a CSR. We are having capacity also. Even I bought in a small way. Even our Honorable Prime Minister is always saying, he bought in a small way. But he has given direction for the nation. And also I can say proudly, right time, right leader, right place. That is Narendra Modi ji. Best performer and also reformer for this great country. So what I am suggesting all of you, it is our responsibility to uplift society. Ultimately, we have to reduce the inequalities between haves and have-nots. Every family should have better living standards, but not only creating wealth, but at the same time, you have to bridge the gap. That is where P4, I made it MBK, Margadarshi Bangaru Kutumbam, 10-20, top 10%, bottom 20% we have to adopt, short term, medium term, long term. You have to invest some time, management techniques, everything. Ultimately, we have to build overall empowerment of that family. That is where we are working. So far, 1 lakh Margadarshis, 10 lakh Bangaru Kutumbams we adopted. This will be a game changer. It is going to help in a big way for society upliftment.
So in that context, were you genuinely unhappy when the women's bill was defeated? And but at the same time, we were quite confused because you supported the bill, but many other southern states, for the fear of delimitation, population issues, did not. How did you process the thought and the vote for your party?
No, this is a very important issue. Gender equity and empowering women is very, very important. What Government of India has done, right thing. Even around 2001, Vajpayee ji has brought Reorganization Act by keeping 1971 census. And also this is not the new approach. In 1996, first time Devagowda brought women reservations. At that time I was a United Front convener. Congress party didn't support. After that, BJP, Vajpayee ji, NDA government, 3 times he brought it. He was unable to push it. 2010, UPA brought reform for the women reservations. BJP supported in Rajya Sabha. Now 2023, all parties supported unanimously women reservations. Today, why they are opposing, I am unable to understand. PM has announced, Amit Shah has announced very clearly, 50% enhancement of seats for every state, uniformly. Andhra Pradesh, I am having 25. 13 seats will increase. UP will have 80. 40 seats will enhance. Tamil Nadu is having 39. 20 seats will increase. What is the problem? I am unable to understand. Even South and North, uniformly, same proportion, it will increase seats. Now, men also will be very happy. Number of seats are increasing. Women are getting 33%. This is only the way, best solution for the nation to get women reservations. According to me, unnecessarily they are making this issue. Anyway, all women, here you are seeing, I am very happy. Most of them are women. I am proud. In politics, less women are participating even
So
today.
it's an opportunity lost?
It cannot be. If all women will decide, then 2/3 will come automatically in parliament. Those who are supporting for women, automatically bill will be passed. I'm telling you.
So you have had the opportunity to work with various governments. You worked with Vajpayee ji, you worked also with United Front, so many prime ministers. Prime ministers have looked up to you. And today you're working with Modi, you shower so much praise, but would you dare to compare what makes him different, or what is, if you were to compare your experiences with other prime ministers?
I have seen so many prime ministers. I have seen industrialists also. Today you are giving award for me. Not today, long back they have given me same award, 25, 30 years back. Regularly I am going to Davos, not once. Even now I am going to Davos. This is where I wanted to meet investors, promote investment, encourage entrepreneurs, then only it is possible. Now earlier I have seen prime ministers, and also I have worked with presidents of India. Now I am seeing a prime minister. The present prime minister is very, very well versed with all developments. Technology is very strong. He is a strong reformer and also performer. Even earlier I used to claim I am doing better. Now I am openly saying our Prime Minister is better than me. He is always very, very progressive. He is bringing so many reforms in administration also. Everywhere there is one cabinet secretary nominated. Each state they are sending one secretary as a nodal officer. How to simplify the procedures. Even how to make government pro-investment. It is not favoring investors. If you can do that, simplification everything, and automatically investment will come, business will take place, wealth will be created, economy will be improved, then poverty we can eradicate. That is where he is working. We are very happy.
Thank you so much, sir. And please also, I would like to take the opportunity to welcome the Honorable Finance Minister, Ms. Nirmala Sitharaman, who joined us. And so without wasting much time, my last question, and absolutely last question, is you are doing a reverse thinking on population policy. Where does this head?
No, this is a very important issue for all of us. 3 decades back, I started population control, family planning. I motivated people we have done successfully. Within 10 years' time, we are able to achieve our goal. Now, South India, we are having a problem, not only India. So many countries are facing the problem of population, aging problem, and also declining population. Even China, you are watching, very fast declining population because one-child norm. Now I am promoting population management. Every couple should have 2 children minimum. Earlier I used to promote 1 is good, 2 is okay, 3 is not correct. Now I am promoting 2 minimum, 3 and more, it is welcome. That is how I am promoting. There is a conflict between wealth and also population. Whenever you are getting more money, we are all become selfish. To run an industry is very easy. To create an industry is very easy, rather than to build a child and also nurture him. That is biggest problem we are facing. In my state, I am seeing 1.5 fertility rate, replacement 2.1. Even India is 1.9 now. Same thing, if you continue up to 2047, India will have an advantage, that is young India. After that, same scenario we will face. Ultimately, we are going to work only for machines. Anyway, robotics, everything is coming. Work will be done. But ultimately, in future, those who are having more population, they will be more prosperous and also they will be more strong. This is where I am promoting now. Next month, I am going to start this program. How best I have to do it, I have to work it out. I am appealing total Indians. After I started, so many people are coming forward and also they are talking. But it is very difficult task. I am aware of that. But there is no other way. That is where I am promoting population management.
On that note and goal, so thank you so much
You have
for
to promote. All of you have to promote.
On that note, thank you for the wonderful conversation, and let's leave the dais for the Honorable Finance Minister.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. That was a fascinating look at what it takes to build with both scale and speed and stay focused on the long term while navigating the present. Thank you once again, sir. And thank you so much, Pranab, for that wonderful conversation. Now, ladies and gentlemen, our next guest really needs very little introduction, though I'm going to attempt one anyway. She has been at the center of India's economic policy making through a period that has tested economies across the world. During that time, India has remained one of the fastest growing major economies with a clear and sustained push on infrastructure and investment and a steady commitment to fiscal discipline. Her tenure has seen the government continue to build at scale, maintain macroeconomic stability through global volatility, and more recently deliver tax relief that has put more money in the hands of consumers. For India Inc., that has translated into something very important: confidence. Confidence to invest, to expand, and to plan for the long term. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my privilege to now invite the Honorable Finance Minister of India, Srimati Nirmala Sitharaman, to this stage. Thank you so much for being here, ma'am. It's wonderful to see you again. In conversation with the executive editor of the Economic Times, Shrutijit KK. Over to you.
Thank you, Madam Finance Minister, for joining us yet again here in Mumbai for this celebration of corporate excellence. I'm particularly grateful that throughout your tenure, you have joined us for this particular event. You are now India's longest continuously serving Finance Minister. Can I ask you, you've handled a lot of crises, a lot of reforms. It's been a hectic time. Could you look back at this time and sort of give us a sense of what this journey has been like?
I'm not sure if I'll be able to summarize anything. Journey, no. I don't look at it like that. I'm all right carrying on with my assignment. But last few years for not just the finance ministry, but in general, has been very challenging. And I'm sure industry leaders, business leaders also have this feeling that never before has there been a stretch of, let's say, 6-7 years, each year posing a different challenge. That's been my experience as well.
As we look at the situation in West Asia and the crisis that has been unfolding for several months now, during your tenure in office, you've handled many crises. One, do you look at this and say, look, this is a little different? Or, is it quite similar to past crisis? And what is the source of resilience that India has to navigate this?
I don't see it as something which is very different. Uncertainty marked COVID. Uncertainty marked Russia-Ukraine. Uncertainty marked Israel. And now Hormuz. Uncertainty, unpredictability, and challenge for critical inputs that India and its economy needs, fertilizer, fuel, and so on. So it's just seemed to be unending, relentless challenges for these particular commodities which are so critical, not just for India, for any other country as well, but particularly for us because maximum import is of the crude and related products. But the blessing that we have is we have the refining capacity. We can, what little we get, we use for our country and also being able to export. But the uncertainty is the main issue. And the second part of your question is, what is it that which we have as a fallback or as a cushion to take this shock? I think the Indian population and its consumption, essentially your domestic consumption is what is giving you that shock absorbing capacity, if you would want that expression. So as long as we are not going to fail in keeping our consumption boosted and well supported, we can be sure to weather the storm. So that I would think is the biggest support that we have for our economy.
Crude has been testing $100. Crude has historically, oil prices historically has been one of our key macroeconomic vulnerabilities, feeding into, fertilizer prices and everything. So how do you assess the trade-offs in terms of protecting growth, managing inflation, and maintaining external stability?
No, there are no trade-offs. You'll have to just work on all the three simultaneously. There's no way in which you can sit back and say, I have something offsetting this challenge, I have some other thing taking care of some other challenge. No, I think eternal vigil, keeping ourselves alert to the changes, like the latest, which all of you all have also reported in the media, the cyber challenge we have because of the mythos is going to be a big one, on which we've spent some time in the ministry with the banks, with the cyber agencies, which are Government of India agencies and so on. Suddenly, that seems to have taken such a dimension that no one is aware of what exactly this animal is, this beast is, and how exactly is it going to play out. Now, would you have imagined a couple of days or a couple of weeks ago that there is this new threat, which is as big as the threat of the war, which is going to hit us in terms of our entire digital network? That digital network, digitization, has brought in such a great change for India. It's a fantastic force multiplier. But now, again, like any other threat, any other cyber threat, you would think, oh, one more. No, this is a totally different thing and of some dimension which we are yet to grapple. So like that, I think it is just a world where things are changing with such rapidity, we'll just have to keep eternally vigilant.
Actually, we reported the story that the NASSCOM itself has written, the representative body of India's IT sector has written to Anthropic, specifically saying our companies should be given access. And they've given access to 40 companies globally, some of whom they have disclosed, all of which are American, rest of which there is no transparency. Now, on a key matter like this, which really could undermine, all kinds of cybersecurity, especially relevant for banking, so many senior banking leaders are here today. We are in a situation where we are at one level somehow at the mercy of a private entity in another country. How do we tackle these kind of situations?
No, first I want to give you a reassuring word on that. The Ministry of Electronics and Telecommunication, MeitY, is fully seized of the challenge that we are facing. And they are engaging with the US administration, they are engaging with Anthropic themselves, and they are also finding out ways in which those few agencies or vendors who have been given the chance to test what this whole thing is all about, they are in touch with them as well. So the ministry is fully seized of this issue, and they are constantly keeping everyone in touch. In fact, the minister was sitting with me when I interacted with the banks in order to alert them, in order to get them together to see if we already can have ways in which, using artificial intelligence, we are able to respond to the challenge which is coming through MeitY. So I think, to be fair, the ministry is fully seized of the problem. But of course, we'll have to have the ministry also and all of us also working at our levels to see how best we can come up with tools which can help us to face this challenge.
One thing that recent weeks and months have really reinforced is that energy is not just about prices, but also about access. Even if you have the ability to pay, just accessing it for countries around the world, it has become very clear it can be challenging at times. What should India do going forward to secure India's energy security?
Energy security in relation to taxes.
No, I mean, with international routes getting affected, where just being able to access energy can be difficult.
I think India has been, I'm not saying this because I'm part of the government. India has been very clear that its priority is its citizens and their, requirement for energy. And since when, soon after COVID, when prices crashed also, the Indian government has been conscious that every opportunity to give us the comfort in terms of keeping our strategic reserves completely filled and ready, and when prices went up, to give the support required for the oil marketing companies, which have to bring the products first of all into the country and then refine, redistribute and so on. So we have, I think, been very clear that what suits Indian interest will be the top of our priority. Source it from wherever. Source it from wherever it is cheap. Source it wherever who can give us in time the requirement that we have. We have never kept this list of our priority aside. So irrespective of what anyone would say, I think the Indian government put India's interest on the top. And we have been very clear to obtain crude oil and make sure that our energy requirements are met with India's priority on the top rather than any other consideration.
Should I then read that as a guidance about what could happen with regard to, say, fertilizer subsidies? Are we saying that we will prioritize fulfilling availability of fertilizers and fulfilling all subsidy obligations, even if it is at the cost of the fiscal glide path to which you have assiduously stuck to?
I'll answer that by saying, didn't we do that during COVID? When the fertilizer prices abroad went shooting and hitting the roof, we still bought them at that price and made sure that the supply disruptions do not happen. And above all, the price doesn't get further transmitted to the farmers. The farmers kept paying the same price. We never pushed forward with putting that burden onto the shoulders of the farmers. Farmers paid the same price as before. And therefore, this question, I think, is more for us all to look at what the performance of the government has been even earlier.
We've seen, now I'll come to the matter of FPIs and FPI outflows and FDI flows overall. We've seen for past several years now sustained FPI outflows, and we're more recently also seeing some weakness in FDI numbers. Now, is this part of cyclical global trend, or are there domestic factors we need to address to improve the situation?
I have a difficulty. The moment I answer one way, even if I state the fact, it becomes a headline affecting the sentiments. Stating facts for a minister is becoming a limiting factor. And if I don't say the facts, I will have Shrutijit write, the minister was evasive. So, end of the day, I have no choice. I don't want to win in this situation, but can I last in this situation is what I'm looking at. But I'm sure all of us observe economies. And once earlier when I had said, after all, when many of them book profits, they go out, oh my God, every authority in this world who had an access to a phone was telling the whole world, is this finance minister conscious of what is happening? It's going out. I mean, do I join this league to say, no, not that, but this? No. Every factor, profit booking or looking at global situation, global uncertainty, rupee-dollar exchange rate, everything will hold good when somebody wants to go out. And I'm not undermining the seriousness of the issue. I'm not saying I don't need the money. I don't need investments. I'm not saying that. First of all, sorry for a diversion. And look at, when you want to answer, you're padding yourself with so many riders and saying, don't take it like this, don't take it like that. I'm not saying this, but I'm saying, the world has become like that. You know, you're not allowed to say things without caveats added. But the fact remains that despite the fact that your fundamentals, your macroeconomic fundamentals remaining absolutely sound, and even now, just a week ago when World Bank and IMF came up with India's figures, they said we still continue to be the fastest growing economy. And that cannot be without basis. And even at that time, not one of the primary indicators that you picked up, your foreign exchange reserve, your inflation management, none of that is still worrisome. But despite that, yes, the funds are going out, the investment monies are going out. There are, I think I've said this earlier, there are more than just the commercial or the money market principles which govern flows, as it were. You tend to think if your macroeconomic fundamentals are fine, money will flow. And that's normal assumption. No, it doesn't. There are other considerations which are holding. And we can always flag ourselves or flog ourselves and say, more reforms are required. We are ready. Prime Minister is always keen to say, go ahead with reforms. We need to be easier an economy for people to come and invest and operate, and manufacturers, MSME, everybody should have it easy so that they can function. We are not against reforms. But is it just that? Or are they strategic consideration for big funders, big private equity operators, or big, fund managers to consider India? Let's have an open, big conversation. This country needs open, free conversation. It can't be always, oh, you have to do this, you have to do that. Yes, we are ready to do all that. And under this Prime Minister, there's never a shut door when it comes to reforms. But please, all the domain experts, look at what is happening. Tell us, is it our fundamentals which is worrying? Is it our inflation, which has been kept completely under the control for the last 1.5 years? Yes, the exchange rate will be a consideration, serious consideration.
Another consideration that market participants often point out, and we've discussed this in the past as well, is the dual incidence of having capital gains as well as securities transactions tax. At this stage, is this something that the ministry is reviewing, or you think there is a case to review?
Again, a question which has been asked since the time I've come into this ministry, every year. And if that is again, I'm looking at ways in which I can answer without irritating anybody who thinks I'm not catering to their requirements. I'm not giving the answer that they want. I have that difficulty, but with that said, I'm still saying, 23-24, India saw highest investment into the country. Did it or did it not? 23-24 or 24-25? I would think 23-24. Even then, we had the tax on STT and capital gains. Yes, there was a time when everybody said, if you had long-term capital gains tax, it was a promise given some time ago that STT, the tax, would be removed. We've heard it. I understand the logic. But that's a question which is being asked even when 23-24 you had investments come into this country. So I'm neither saying yes, nor am I saying no. Please don't read, oh, she said this, so tomorrow she's going to remove STT. I'm not saying that. Nor am I saying it's right to continue with both. I'm not saying that either. But let's look at the context before we answer.
Having had the privilege of interviewing many times, I've never seen you give so many caveats. So that's also new.
They say, right, as you go through the experiences, you learn. Every year I'm adding newer caveats because I learn from Srutijit. Ma'am, but you said this. Ma'am, but you said that. So, please. Earlier my fear used to be, will it become a headline tomorrow morning? I don't want a headline. Now I'm worried about many other things which come in the conversation.
Ma'am, about the stake sale in IDBI Bank, is this a recalibration of the process? Is there an overall rethink in terms of our disinvestment strategy? Where does it stand?
IDBI will go through the formal process. I think the explanation was given on why it couldn't go through the last time. So the valuation issue. So no, there is no halting IDBI. It'll happen.
India has historically been very good at, bringing in fast-track reforms in the face of external shocks. Right now, there is an external shock. Do we have enough structural reforms that are on your radar that, you think this is a good opportunity to work on?
Every challenge is an opportunity. There's no doubt. We will carry on with reforms. We will carry on with further, not just finance ministry. Every ministry is working on how best we can ease, the compliance norms, the regulatory stiffness. So work is happening on that, and you'll see gradually a lot more things happening.
Any tactical measures or relaxations for the industry that you're planning in the wake of the West Asia disruptions?
I don't know what tactical means here, but just as when you had the US tariff, we came with a package to help those who were exposed to the US market. Similarly, I think in December last year, we came up with a package again for people who are affected. There is also a discussion on I think it was even announced that we will give support similar to the support which was given during COVID, emergency liquidity credit guarantee scheme, something of that order for most of the units which have been affected because of the raw material supply disruptions, price going up, insurance risk. So all this is being kept up in mind and things are being worked out.
Since the clock is blinking, I want to ask you a couple of political questions before we end. What do you make of the high voter turnout in West Bengal and Tamil Nadu?
The normal cephalogist analysis would say when there is a strong anti-incumbency, when there is a change in the government, that's when there is a voter turnout of this kind of a significant number. And I guess, therefore, there will be a change going by this, voter turnout. there will be a change in West Bengal and Tamil Nadu.
And what is it about your party, ma'am, that so many opposition leaders around the country seem to want to leave their parties and join yours? What is the formula?
Formula is you run a responsive government, be a party which touches all the sections of the country, and be absolutely fair in dealing with every section of the society. Therefore, people get attracted, and you have a leadership in Prime Minister Modi, which has made him stay in public office for more than 25 years. Either as Chief Minister or as Prime Minister, one leader of this country who has continuously held that kind of a position without a question on his, integrity, his governance capability, appeals to people, so they come.
Two data points that are held in criticism of Indian private sector. One is that our spends on R&D is low compared with many other countries. Second is that private investment, as we've been discussing, has not quite picked up. With so many captains of industry here, anything you would like to say on these two regards?
Two things. One, if there is something which is worrying the industry and its priorities, we'd love to hear it, because in response to what we have heard in 2019 is when the taxation was brought down, corporate tax. And the ease of doing business, how much ever it is tarnished in terms of, you do in the name of ease of doing business so many things, but you burden the common man. These opposition arguments kept aside for a moment. Anything that which has to be done in the ease of doing business, we are certainly willing to hear. And any other difficulty that stops Indian industry from expansion or capacity building or investing in newer technologies, artificial intelligence, your production formula itself is going through a change. So anything, we'll be open to hearing, move ahead, but there are some things which are holding industry back. That's one. And second, I repeat this line which I've said earlier. India's domestic market still needs a lot of things for itself to be manufactured here in India. Everything that comes as import gives an opportunity for manufacturing it within the country, whether it's finished goods or intermediary. Why would we want to import when industry in India can produce that? There can, of course, be some items which you can't because of certain technology requirement which you may not have. But there are others. And in that, if Prime Minister Modi is talking about Atmanirbhar Bharat, it is with a hope that Indian industry would come in to manufacture those goods which we no longer need to import. Would you want to consider that as a business opportunity or not? So it's one thing for us to go on saying Atmanirbhar, another also to make sure Indian industry gets all the support, but imports don't come down at all. How does that get explained? Wouldn't you want to produce for the sake of Indian consumers? And that's a huge market. So my response, therefore, would be, please be in conversation with the government. Tell us what you need. Tell us what you want us to do so that you feel incentivized to further invest and grow. Equally, wouldn't you want to look at the opportunities that exist within India and do the manufacturing instead of importing it? Instead of not you, but the consumer is importing a lot of goods, end products. And businesses are importing a lot of goods which are intermediary. So there is, I think, some more agility, which is my expectation of India's industry.
With that loud and clear message, we will now wrap our conversation and get on to the next segment, which is the awards presentation. As always, a pleasure to be in chat with you, ma'am. Thank you so much for joining us today. Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause for the Finance Minister of India.
Thank you. And ma'am, requested to please stay on stage with us. What a wonderful and fascinating conversation. Thank you so much once again, ma'am. Thank you for your clarity, that perspective, and for always reminding us that calm can be a form of leadership. And who better than Shrutajit to have this wonderful conversation with? Ma'am, we will request you to please be seated with us on stage. Thank you. And now I'd like to invite on stage the Honorable CM of Andhra Pradesh, Shri N. Chandrababu Naidu, to please join ma'am on stage as we are about to step into the next segment of the evening. Thank you for once again approaching the stage, sir. Thank you.